Hey gardeners, today I'm planting up vintage urns in the garden with fresh topiaries and beautiful blooms I grew from seed. I can't wait to bring these classic containers to life. Let's get planting. Okay. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video on one of your Facebook, Instagram, whatever, one of your social media pages. Okay, it's gorgeous outside. It is, I think today is March 13th, and we are gonna do the vintage urns. I am so excited. I wanted to do these yesterday, but we had a prediction of some potential hail, and I was afraid that if I planted, then of course it would hail. And then of course, since I didn't plant, it didn't hail. So I'm super excited to get these started. So let's start chatting about what that process is gonna look like. Okay, so I have two of these urns. I got them last January from an event rental company, and they were liquidating their inventory. And so I actually bought 4 of these. And then my friend Kristen bought 2. And then I realized how large they are for my garden. So I ended up giving her, she's got 4 and I kept 2, and I used them to flank part of coming to the backyard, and I'm obsessed with them. Now they have a little bit of give and a little bit of wobble. I actually think that that's a little bit beneficial because of when we're dealing with high winds, but they're doing really good. And I had planted these snowman topiaries, and they've done really well, and I think that I can get away with another season for them. So we'll put them up in the attic and then pull them out next winter. But urns are a classic look in a garden. They're very versatile. You can change them out with lots of things. You can do lots of annuals if you want and change them out throughout the seasons. You can put perennials. You can put a beautiful just boxwood in here so that you never have to change it out. There's just a whole lot of different things that you can do with them. I do want to note that I prepped these last year, and they are lined with some plastic with a hole at the bottom to help retain some moisture. They also have drip irrigation set up to them. It's hard to see, it's all the way back here. Drip irrigation set up to them, so they do get regularly watered, and that is extremely beneficial. And we will confirm that those are, that all is still working. But let's talk about what plants we're gonna put out here. Okay. Look at me sitting out in my garden. Okay, I want to talk about how and why I select different plants for containers, because I think that that's very confusing to a lot of people. I will say in the beginning when I first started gardening, I just went for it. And I've done a lot of trial and error, so I know a lot of things that work and don't work just from legitimately trying them out. So all the plants for these vintage planters were selected for height, texture, color, and trailing interests. I love the idea of stuff trailing off the side of any planter, truthfully, but especially these urns. So I wanted to start with choosing a centerpiece for these, because of course right now the snowmen are the centerpiece. So I ended up selecting these Eugenia Topiaries. These were purchased from Home Depot for $30 each, and which is a great price for a topiary, but you'll understand why it's such a great price in a moment. These get to about 2 to 4 feet tall, so they're already about 2 feet tall, which is great. They love full sun to partial sun. They need at least 4 to 6 hours of sun per day. They're upright, dense, small, glossy leaves with a naturally rounded shape. It adds height and structure while contrasting with the trailing plants that I'm going to be adding. Eugenia are tropical. They will not make it through my winters, and so that's why they're $30, because they grow quickly, but they're not considered hardy in my area. With that being said, this last year I tried to overwinter some Eugenias topiaries in my greenhouse, and it did not go well. They all died. So if I decide to overwinter these, they will probably come inside. I'll probably uproot them from the urns, and then I'll bring them inside anytime we have cool weather. We'll see. The fact that I'm planting them now and that they're going to be here from March, probably all the way till November, I feel like it's worth the $30 each. I feel really good about that, especially considering all the other plants I started from seed. But these are going to be the beautiful, strong centerpiece structure within each of these urns. And I love their kind of upright strength. I think is going to look really, really good, especially surrounded by some of the other plants that I've chosen. Okay, next on the list, and everything from this point on I've grown myself. So next on the list is Tickled Pink petunias. These are 10 to 12 inches tall, so you can see them hitting their height, and 18 to 12 inches wide. And I think they're actually going to get even bigger than that because they've already hit that at this point. They need full sun at least 6 hours, mounding and trailing with large, vibrant pink blooms, provides a burst of pink color that spills over the urn's edges. That's really important at this point. I mean, I've had this tall, upright structure with the topiaries, and now adding a soft, trailing bloom over the side will be absolutely beautiful. These benefit from being regularly deadheaded, and they benefit from weekly feeding as well. So they are very hungry. So if I want to keep them blooming, I'm definitely going to need to make sure that I continue to fertilize them with a liquid fertilizer throughout the season. We'll add a slow release fertilizer when we plant. Okay, next is Snowtopia bacopa, which I also grew from seed. And this is only about 4 to 6 inches tall, 24 inches wide, full sun to partial shade. Best flowering, it flowers best if it receives at least 4 hours of sun per day. It's low growing, trailing stems with tiny white flowers, and this will soften the edges of the urn with a delicate cascading white blooms that contrast with the pink of the petunia, which I think will be really nice. It prefers consistent moisture. Do not let the bacopa dry out. Trim lightly to encourage new growth if it becomes leggy. And I'm obsessed with the bacopa. It's really pretty. I cannot wait to plant it. And for some reason, I didn't write down all my information about Kirigami oregano. So I'm just going to sit here and look pretty for a second, and I'll do a voiceover. Okay, Kirigami oregano features trailing stems with soft green oval-shaped leaves. It introduces intricate hop-like flowers with purple-green bracts and tiny pink blooms, making it a striking choice for containers, hanging baskets, and garden borders. Prefers full sun to part shade, and it's about 8 to 10 inches tall and spreads 12 to 14 inches wide with a trailing mounded habit. Okay, so those are the plants that we're going to use. So let's go ahead and start by deconstructing the current urns and seeing what we have to work with, because I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to revitalize some of the potting soil that's in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the drip irrigation lines, putting them to the side. And then in here, we've got some ornamental kale. I've also got a little bit of white dianthus, which I'm going to put to the side, and we'll repot that up in here. Because dianthus is perennial in my area. Now, this has not had drip irrigation on during the winter. So we just went with, here's another dianthus. We just went with whatever Mother Nature decided to give. But the soil is fairly moist because we had rain a few days ago. This also originally had a lot of beautiful petunias that I had grown from seed myself in the summer to be utilized in the fall. Okay, I definitely want to re-fortify this soil a little bit. I think I'm going to scoop a lot of this out and put it in my container that I use to revitalize my potting soil. And I think we're going to go ahead and mix in compost and several different other elements in order to get that soil boosted so that it can provide enough nutrients for several of the next seasons, spring, summer, and fall. Okay, let's add some nutrients to this. Now, if you want to know the specifics of what I'm adding, I have a video all about revitalizing your old potting soil, and you're welcome to check that out. Basically, we're looking at compost, worm castings, perlite, and slow release fertilizer. You might hear my friend Crane on in the background. Crane from Cranery Gardens. I have his video playing in the background so I can listen to my gardening friend as I work. Let me switch gloves to longer gloves. Okay, we want to start with our Eugenia Topiary. And looks pretty good. Doesn't look root bound. Not really worried about it like spreading out tons. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and just nestle it right in the center. Just like that. And you can see my plastic trash bag that's here. Remember that trash bag does have a hole in it at the bottom to release the water. It only has one hole in it. So where it releases the water is in one specific place, and that forces all the water to drain slowly out of it, which is extremely helpful, allowing the plants time to soak up the water. Giant scoop. I picked that up from like a, I don't know, antique show or something several years ago. Okay, I'm going to start with some of the petunias. And I really want some to flow down right here on either side, almost matching each other with the petunias. And I am going to really be working these in, y'all. Putting quite a few plants in. And if these climbing petunias, if they go up through the topiary, that'd be super cool. So I think I'm going to end up doing 3 total of the tickled pink petunias. All right, now I'm going to start tucking in the bacopa, and every time I'm putting in these side plants, I am leaning them slightly to the edge, towards the edge of the urn, in hopes of promoting them to cascade over the edge. And I think I'm going to put at least 3 bacopa in each one. Okay, and for a little bit more color, I'm going to put in, and also just to fill in a little bit more, I think I'm going to put in some of these geranium violet multi-bloom that I also grew from seed. And I'll talk about them right here. Multi-bloom violet geranium produces clusters of rich violet blooms above deep green lobe foliage. It's about 10 to 12 inches tall by 10 to 12 inches wide. Prefers full sun but can tolerate some shade with moderate watering. It blooms from spring through fall and really benefits from deadheading along the way. Okay, next I've got this, I think it was called White Diamond Dianthus. That's left over from my winter planting. I'm going to tuck in 2 of those on each side. It's a perennial. And it puts off big white flowers. And then lastly, I've got a pot of Karigami oregano. And it actually has 2 plants in it. So I'm going to come through gently pull this apart and put these at 2 locations. And this Kerigami oregano is something that like really starts to put on some fancy growth as we get hot. And it's very unique looking. So put that in a few places. It's hot, I'm sweating. I know you northern gardeners are like, Amanda, stop complaining. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to top this off with some mulch because where this planter is, it gets sun almost all day with the exception of late afternoon where it gets a little shade from the willow tree behind me. And I want to be able to control the moisture levels, especially during the hottest part of the summer. Now these petunias most likely will not last through the summer. We'll probably do a summer change. Petunias in my area, once we get to the upper 90s, they're done. Okay, it looks super cute now, but now imagine it when it's full grown and this trailing petunias off the side, geraniums, Kerigami oregano. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. I'm pretty sure that this will get a little bit taller. I love it. Let's do the other one. And I'm just watering these in really well with the liquid fertilizer. Just also dusting off some of the soil and stuff that got on these. Okay. I'm gonna go in and have some lunch and we'll come back out later this evening when the light isn't as harsh and take a really good look at these. Okay, and legit, here we are 3 days later because I forgot to come back out and film. But these have had time to orient themselves to the space and they're looking really, really nice. And they're only going to continue to fill in over time. I was thinking I might come and basically cut some of these longer tendrils to make them branch out. I might do that. Really beautiful, filling in, lovely. Very excited with how these turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me put together the vintage urns. It's going to be really fun to just follow along with these throughout the season. You guys will get to see them grow. There'll probably be a little bit of a change out of blooms in summer and fall, but we'll keep a lot of what's already here. I'm really happy with how it turned out. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to jump over and check me out in my Patreon community. It is a group of gardeners who are into gardening and into She's a Mad Gardener. There is a free tier and there are paid tiers as well. And the higher up in the tiers you are, the more access you get, including exclusive videos, sharing in chats, sharing photos, all that good stuff. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.